For today's webinar, Mr. Somnath sir will be our...
Yeah, I'll just take over.
Yeah, please, sir.
Thank you, Asim. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to have you all. Today we have a very important webinar by Indranil Aik. He's a skilled professional with extensive experience stretching over 30 years as a chartered engineer, valuer, and as an entrepreneur. He is a very interesting presentation, so I wouldn't take too much time. He himself will tell us about the profession that he's following and the journey that he's had till date. With this, I'll just hand over to the next person who is, I think, Asim, you need to introduce the moderator.
Sure. So for today's webinar, Mr. Mirajuddin Ansari will be our moderator, who is a senior engineer, bridge design engineer with a vast experience in bridge design engineering. So I will hand over to you, Miraj, to just introduce our two speaker so that he can take over his presentation afterwards.
Okay, thank you, Asim. And I welcome all the participants in this webinar, which is going to be a very knowledge enriching one. And I would like to bring to Asim and Mr. Ghosh sir that I was not available in the past two webinar, although my name was there due to some reasons. And I'll make sure in the next coming webinars I'll be available anytime soon to compensate all my absentees in that. Coming to our guest and presenter, Mr. Indranil H. sir. He's an award-winning chartered engineer and a government-registered valuer, lean practitioner and entrepreneur author engaged in valuation services of land, buildings, real estate with the plant and machinery for various banks and financial institutions, PSUs, consulting services in the engineering, underground mining, open cast mining with the exposure in construction and mining equipments, commercial vehicles, infrastructures, including the road and highways, port, real estate, with more than 30 years of vast experience in all these fields. He has led entrepreneurial ventures in valuation, underground, open cast mining, engineering consulting, including TEV, LIE, and carbon credit turnkey solutions. He has served in a leadership role across the Ingersoll Rand, Titagar, Wagon, and Go industry, driving the top line growth and pan-India asset sales and a strategic partnership with the global firm. Mr. H is a certified lean consultant, MSME government, and a registered valuer under the Wealth Tax Act. He holds a membership in various national and international prestigious bodies like ASE, RICS, ASCE, IOV, and IE of India. He is also a speaker, mentor, and academic contributor with the Memorandum of Understanding with ISM Dhanbad, IFT Kolkata, and Techno India Group. So with the introduction, we can understand he has a lot of link related to the field we are going to speak with. So with this, I would like to request Mr. Indranil H. sir to go ahead, and the virtual floor is all yours. Please enlighten us on the topic we are supposed to be going ahead with. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ansari. I'll just get into the presentation.
Okay.
Is it visible to all of you?
Yeah, we can see that, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, thank you, Mr. Ghosh, Chairman CAI, and the leadership team, especially Asim, Mirajuddin, and the Secretariat to give me this opportunity to talk to our elite engineers, proud across India, regarding whatever little I have learned and experienced in my journey when I was in corporate, as well as in my entrepreneurial journey from 2010 onwards. I think Miraj has already briefed all of you about myself. I have got around 30 years of experience, and we are into 4 5 verticals, out of which one of them is the TEV and LIE reports. We are more into LIE. TEV is a one-time activity, that is techno-economic viability report, and this is becoming important day by day for especially the engineering faculty and the consulting faculty, pre and post, because finance is the lifeblood of any project. Without that, it is not going to survive. Second part is that more and more NPAs over the past, and in non-banking finance companies going down, and so on and so forth. What has happened is that banks are increasingly getting into the mode of bringing in experts, domain experts, top class engineers, and during my interactions with the CII and also with ECI, I felt that it is very important that we get the wonderful uh, talent base that CEI has to expose to these field, because what we find it is that it is only related to or it is only restricted to this field. So that's the kind of exposure there. So my presentation is just to give you an outline. It takes 6 months for a course to run, but then I try to in 1 hour just to give you an idea, and I'll talk about 2 case studies on the same. So,
Okay.
so my broad presentation would be that I'll talk a bit about the Indian banking overview. Second is introduction to PV and LIE. Next is what is the kind of empanelment criteria, educational qualifications, and the tenures. How do you evaluate it? How do you evaluate the evaluation process and steps? And of course, I will talk of two. We'll talk of two case studies. One is a paper mill which went into NCLT, which became a bad loan, and it was taken over by a very promising group. For the secrecy of this thing, we have not divulged the names here, but how the revival process over the stage has happened, I've tried to capture it pictorially and a bit of videos. And the final one is, of course, the large projects to open cast mining for NTPC in the form of an SPV. Closing. So all of you know this, of course. Since we are all engineers, and we are not, we just banking is, I would not say secondary, but just to give you an idea, the kind of banking setup in India, we have 4 5 major banking or let's say credit per se market players. One is the public sector banks, where State Bank leads, and followed by PNB and all other banks. So I'll be sharing the presentation. I'm not going into who has got how much deposit and spread. All those things are available here. Then there are private sector banks, which is led by HDFC, followed by ICICI and Axis Bank. All of these, let me tell you, all of these banks are getting into project funding. Okay, the PSUs take larger chunks, starting from uh, 5 crores to 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 crores projects. Private banks, maybe they will go up to 500 to 600 crores so far. Then there is a new segment that has come up called small banks. Now, how do you really define a small bank? A small bank is basically these are banks to cater to tier 2, tier 3 towns, as well as regional rural banks, and they are not allowed foreign, foreign investment or foreign accounts of individuals. They are not account. There are certain restrictions of RBI's. And then there are non-banking finance companies, which are basically um, like your Tata Capital, Cholamandalam Finance, and so on and so forth. This is also, they are sectors. Some are into housing, some are into equipment finance, some are into medical equipment finance, like Clicks Capital, or they are sector specific, and they are mainly giving to uh, MSMEs and small and medium companies, and at times corporate, but not to individuals. Non-banking finance companies cannot do personal banking, like you cannot have a savings bank account here. So that's broadly a definition of how banks are in India. This is the overall market share, where State Bank holds about, the key players are State Bank. The public sector banks are holding the maximum market share. Then comes the private sector banks, and then finally the small finance bank. That is the kind of this thing. Around 40 to 45% is held by the public sector banks still. In the public sector banks, you see that State Bank of India holds the maximum pie, around 46%, followed by Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, Union Bank, Canara Bank, Indian Bank, Indian Overseas, and then you have small ones, Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra, Central, and Punjab and Sindh Bank. So of late, what has happened is that many of the banks have been merged. So you can see the breakup of the pie is smaller. Earlier, there were one. Even State Bank has got merged in 2016 or with all its subsidiaries. So the idea is to get more and more command and control by the central government and by the central regulatory bank, that is RBI. Next is we will not talk of market share, but we'll talk of the market cap of private sector banks, which is around, market cap is about 1 crore, 1 lakh 40,000 crores, which is held by HDFC, followed by ICICI Bank, and then you have got Axis, you have got Kotak Mahindra, and then IndusInd Bank. Small banks, you have heard of all these banks. AU Small Finance Bank has come up very fast, which was a non-banking finance company. AU is basically gold, which means gold. And now you must have seen they have given some credit cards and also. Ujjivan, again, one developed by Mr. Samir Ghosh of Bangalore, has emerged and is very aggressive. We work with Ujjivan Bank. They are trying to do small ticket size loans, maximum up to 1 crore, but their spread has been very fast. And then you have got, ESAF Small Finance Bank. Utkarsh is there, which is from Lucknow, which of course is just catching up. So that's why it's not appearing in this list. Then in non-banking finance companies, there are other areas also, like if you talk of let's say the NBFC's total micro LAP, which means loan against property. Okay, so the NBFCs are catering to about 22%. Banks are catering to around 70%, out of which State Bank is. If you go to most of the metro cities, you will find something called RACPC, that is Rural Retail Asset Processing Press Center. These RSCPCs are set across all over India, and the same pattern is followed by PNB, Bank of India, and all others. And there is other Indian financial institutions like SIDBI also, which is a part of that one. They are actually not, they are sector specific. They only give to SMEs this kind of funding. And in the microlab segment, you have got the which is mainly the loan against property, and this can be for an educational loan, or this can be against some house development loan or some other loan. NBFCs are more focus, or if you are buying an equipment, let's say, which you put up in rental, which Tata Capital does, or Siemens Financial Services, which is an they do. So that is catered. That NBFCs are very strong, where they are catering around 45%, and then you have got banks, which is between small and large banks, 26% and 11%, and the rest is catered by people like SIDBI and other financial institutions, maybe cooperative banks and so on and so forth. So just to give you an overview, overall credit market share, the banking share is that banks dominate around 70% of the market share. NBFCs maintain a steady 21 to 25% of the market share, and the rest people like CDB and these kind of organizations around 8% of the total banking scenario. So that is how the total banking is operating in India. It is very important to know this because they are the primary people who empanel you and they fund the projects, and they are the primary customers to people who are interested in getting empaneled as LIE consultants or domain experts or PV consultants. And they are, and at every segment, they require, be it a 1 crore asset, it can be a small rice mill, it might be a small puffed rice mill, or it can be a large mining project, or a paper mill, or a auto unit, which is very common in Chennai area, or Chennai auxiliary unit, or in Jamshedpur, Pune, Dharwad, or Faridabad, the auto components market. So that's everybody would be going for an LIE report or a TEV report. Now, TEV report, what has happened is that normally if the project is of around 5 crores, so they don't require it. But some banks, small banks are going for it. And some large projects, already existing projects above 10 crore, then only they ask for TEV reports. That is techno-economic viability reports. So I will quickly then next, having spoken of about the total banking scenario, just to give you a quick go through. We talked about the types of banks, 4 or 5 types, and the market share, where SBI is the largest market shareholder, and then we spoke about the kind of emerging markets of small banks, AIFs, and the overall credit market share. So that's the banking scenario at large, and it is growing at a fairly steady rate. In India, the NPAs have come down. Okay, it is a readjustment and restructuring, but still the NPAs have come down. And come down because of checks and balances like these, which are happening here now. What is the importance of banks and financial institutions? You have seen so many scams, so many things that are happening. First, it helps in risk mitigation. Secondly, they, with the help of these reports, they make informed decision making. Third is regulatory compliance, and fourth is, of course, safeguarding the interests. RBI in 2018 has come out with some basic directive that domain experts, engineers from various fields should be brought in to assess the DPRs, assess the performance, and whether the intent of the company where the loan is being given or the exposure is being given is their intent is not siphoning. Okay, that has to be seen. The project is running properly or not, so that the damage can be controlled. Now, my second module is I'm going to talk about introduction to TEV and LIE. What are they? What is the kind? What do they do, and so on and so forth. So, if I have to define TEV quickly, it is a in-depth evaluation of project's technical feasibility and economic viability, and it is used for banks and financial institutions to assess whether a proposed project is practical and is likely to generate sufficient returns or not. We have seen across the country that many, like Singur is one classic example, where the land acquisition became a problem, which led to passing of a bill in the parliament in 2012 12 and 13, and 12 and 13, that the Land Acquisition Act was passed after this Singur incident. So, things like this, something called pest analysis, we all know, political, economic, social, and technical. So, TUV basically looks at pest analysis. It examines the technical aspects. Suppose you want to open up a beer factory or a beer factory come bar in front of a school. Okay, everything is fine, investment is there, the promoters are good, this thing is profitable, but within if you 500 meters of a school, if you are trying to open it, then there will be a social repulsion. So these are the things which are normally captured under viability. It includes engineering knowledge plus a bit of finance, where you look at the cash flow over the years, whether it's going to be correct or not. Now, things like if you're trying to cultivate, let's say, wheat in Gangetic regions of the country, whether that would be viable or not. So these are the things that is there. Second is, let's say that one group has grown very big and they're starting what we call bouquet entrepreneurship.
Just by selling those.
Hello. So things like, he decides tomorrow that I want to get into, we have seen many of the businesses failing like this. For instance, the Bombay Dyeing Group, the Wadias got just recently shed off their, they went bankrupt on their airlines business. So this is called bouquet entrepreneurship. So he decides, okay, we will have a, precision manufacturing unit. We will also do that. Maybe he was doing, something else, and he has generated a lot of money, and he suddenly decides that he will do that without any competency. So these kind of things are evaluated by the bank, whether they have the knowledge, wherewithal, and the people who can run it. So these things are normally captured in a TEV report. Of course, the process overview, the mandate for TEV is assigned by the lender. Data collection, questionnaires, visit to the site, and equivalent projects. Recently, we had a case in Kolkata, one group which was doing very good in educational field, private college, engineering. They grew into 5 or 6 colleges, and they suddenly decided that we will have a cancer clinic. So SBI gave the project to them, and they then executed the building, and then suddenly they realized that the kind of clearances that are required, and wherewithal, there one doctor which was running the project, or who was supposed to run it, he suddenly shifted off to UK, and the project was stalled in between. So luckily, Manipal Group took over that project. So these are the things that are thrown up. So, the kind of risk assessment is very important. It is not only financial risk, but operational risk in future, and the expertise is also looked into. So TEV study, in short, the purpose is that it provides lenders with a critical unbiased analysis to determine the risk to reward ratio of funding a project, supporting informed lending decisions. This is very, very important. Today, when we look at NPA cases in our valuation services, or in cases which are going for one-time settlement, we see that the lending decision making was not informed. Many of the cases are not informed. So this is very, very important that that is why the techno-economic viability study is done, and this is the overall view, basic view of a techno-economic study. Next comes the LIE. Now, TEV is the pre-project project starting before the loan is given, and lender's independent engineer is the post activity. Uh, Remember, let's say if the bank has sanctioned you 500 crores, on day one, they are not going to give you 500 crores. They will uh, see what is the project timeline, whether it is 18 months, 24 months, and 30 months, or 36 months, or 60 months, or 72 months. In case of mining, it goes up to 9 years for make, build, and operate. So this is there are two basic types of reports. One is uh, on the uh, on the existing, there is a new project that is starting off. And second is it might be an infrastructure project given by the government, which requires funding. I will talk on that later on. So, having said that, the definition meaning is a technical due diligence assessment conducted by an independent engineering consultant on behalf of a lender. It verifies the physical and financial progress of a project, ensuring that the work is proceeding as planned and funds are being used appropriately. At times, what happens is funds are MSMEs in Indian MSMEs, especially the banking trends, is that if there is a marriage in the family, the entire fund goes into there because that's a very easy way of siphoning funds. Whether you know or you don't know, this thing, marriages in India, there is a big way of siphoning funds. So I'm not saying that everybody does that, but then that is the bankers' view. What they tell us. Second is of course technical review. You see, many companies what they do is they go for second-hand equipments, second-hand kind of materials they are using for. Maybe it has got that equipment that they're buying is 1/4 the cost of a new machine. And what happens is that everybody will understand that it is just to show it to the bankers. This let's say the cost is 125 rupees is the uh, purchase cost and 75 is pocketed. So whether the right kind of technology they're buying, whether they're buying new machines, whether the repair cost they're showing is correct or not, whether they're trying to repair a machine which is beyond repair. So these things are very, very important. Third is the tightness of the contract vetting. See, many of the work is nowadays outsourced. So we have to review the contracts, review the performance guarantees and industry benchmarks. Let's say we are, trying to do a kind of international project or international farms. This happens with very Chinese, the kind of experience that they show, they send in Chinese. So I have been a part of where we had to send the contracts to the local Chinese consulate in Kolkata to see whether and understand whether they were correct or not. So this kind of contract vetting is very important. And of course, the regulatory approvals, let's say mainly infra projects where forest, environmental clearance, local clearances are important. Next is progress monitoring. This is a very important part. So normally, in case of LIs, we will find that the project is visited every 3 months, every quarter. Whatever we have done so far, around 40, 45 projects that we have participated in, we have seen that every quarter we have to visit. The engineers team shall visit along with or without bankers. Then it is important to see that the fund release certification, whether whether it has been released or not, and before releasing this thing, the project milestones are being met or not. That is very, very important. And of course, ongoing monitoring is there. The whole idea is to monitor the nurturing of a baby, whether that baby is getting a decent, healthy growth. Parents are taking care of it or not, and whether the medicine, food, the talking, the walking, everything. That is the job of a external agency or the lender's independent engineer. So taking a quick comparison is that PV focuses on feasibility and viability, that is pre-funding, whereas LIE focuses on technical and financial progress post-funding. PV is conducted by financial and technical consultants. Mostly people who are technical can pick up the financials. That's not a very different call. And LIE is, of course, by engineers like us. TV is used before loan sanction disbursement, whereas LI is used before and during the project execution. So, moment the first tranche is given, the LI comes in and he is appointed. So, if we, let's say, by aspect wise, if we take three aspects like focus, it is conducted by whom and when it is used. This is what I said is at a glance, which you can see. It is for focus, it's feasibility and viability, and the focus is on technical and financial progress. It is conducted by financial and technical consultants, and LI is done by independent engineering consultants. And it is when it is used is before loan sanction and disbursement, before and during the project execution. I think we have already spoken about this. What is the importance of risk mitigation and regulatory compliance? Next
Yes.
comes is the the empanelment criteria, educational qualifications, and tenures. So I have tried to make a comparative. Two things. One is the empanelment tenure and the assignment tenure. Any bank, be it valuers or advocates or LIE or TEV or domain expert, is normally for 3 years as per the RBI guidelines. So it's two to some bank make it 2 years, some bank make it 3 years. And assignment tenure for LIE particularly, it covers the life of the project. Now the project, if it is small project, it's a small, let's say, rice mill or a paper mill or a auto project. It is normally starting from 12 months to 18 months to 24 months. And if it's a large mining project or a road project, it can go up to 5 years, 6 years, up to 9 years. 9 years, 12 years also. In case of TEV, the same, the empanelment is for 2 to 3 years. The report validity is valid during the project appraisal and loan sanctioning process. In case there is a bad loan, then the TEV consultant is hauled up and asked for explanation that you justified that this project is good, but then see what is happening. Maybe this aspect that you have not. In TV, what they look at if there's something goes wrong is that not the promoter of the business, but the other parameters like political unrest, economic downturns or economic issues, volatility of the market. Social is that there might be a social issue, it is polluting the area, or technological, that this technology that they're planning to use is totally outdated. So then only these people are hauled up. A quick this thing on the LI reports and TEV reports validity. LI reports, the empanelment is for 2 to 3 years as per bank policy, and assignment duration is DCCO, date of completion and commissioning of operations. Okay, that is DCCO. That's the word these finance people use. And TEV, of course, during the or until the project appraisal or the loan sanctioning. Up to that, the TEV report is available. For LIE, the minimum qualification required is, of course, B in your relevant field. It can be mining, all engineering. Normally, software is not required. So IT people, mostly course subjects are required. B, BTech or equivalent in the relevant field. And normally they are broken into two categories. One is minimum 5 years of experience, specifically in LIE, and category B, which is some have gone for category C also, which is projects up to 50 crores, minimum 5 years industrial experience. So some have done ABC also, some of the banks. You can get these if you just type in the Google that empanelment of LIE and TV, you can get that. Organizational structure, how much, whether how much big you want to be. It can be an individual who has been got a good amount of experience. It can be a proprietorship firm. It can be partnership firm. Chartered engineers, they have their own LLPs, private public limited companies, or association of persons who have come together and formed a, let's say, organization. Only thing that they look at is sufficient technically qualified staff must be available to undertake assignments. Okay. Of course, you have to give your financial information like other tenders and all, 3 years of your audited balance sheets, whatever you are, even if you are a proprietary firm, you can give that. Submission of financial information for the last 2 years, paid up capital, net worth, income, revenue, PAT, so on and so forth. They they advertise and you have to fill up. Your CA can help you on this one. Of course, your bankers have to give you a satisfactory report. Some banks check civil score, which I think is unnecessary. I always felt, but then that is the way they do. They say that if your own score is not good, how will you score the others? So that is the kind of thinking most of the banks have. This is very important, sector and geographic coverage. See, each applicant is not allowed into more than 3 areas. Okay, upcoming areas like EV would not be known to a design engineer like our friend Asim and his friend Miraj. So that's why they restrict, roads. Maybe they will give power or hospital, and you have to demonstrate that you have worked in this field. Not specifically you have done LI, but you are a man from the roads. You understand that kind of paving equipments that are used. You understand that the road making technology, the compaction. You understand. Like right, they will give maximum 3. So you should have some civil engineers, you should have mechanical people in your team. So that kind of thing they look into. And of course, geographic coverage. Where are the people based at? Okay, suppose if you are working in northern sector and you're trying to pick up a job in eastern sector, the cost will be high. So that so normally they try to keep it geographic, division of 4 or 5 geographies, especially with respect to India. And empanelment is more or less for all banks. It is limited to a maximum of 3 sectors per agency or per person maybe. Next comes is your other requirements is that if you have other empanelments done earlier or some person like who has operated as a chairman and has of some PSU and has come forward. There are many such people who are working with us are there like this. So these kind of people can be also bought in. Whether you are a defaulter or you are blacklisted somewhere, that has to be given. This is very important. Some, if they are blacklisted and they have been blacklisting has been removed, also that data, that clarity is very important. And your certificates and your curriculum vitae has to be given. Next is, the empanelment criteria. As far as the educational, this is for LI, this is for TEE. And here the thing is that engineering or relevant technical degree with additional qualifications in finance and management. This helps. They also say if you have a cost accountant with you or a CA with you in the team, then it is good. Uh, Substantial experience, typically 5+ years in conducting TEV studies for relevant sectors. Similarly, organization structure like LIE, uh, submission of financial credentials and satisfactory banking status, demonstrated expertise in sector for which empanelment is sought. Let's say if you are applying for roads, or if you are applying for, let's say, factories in kind of precision type or auto sector, or it can be, foundry and so on and so forth. Documentation like same detailed CVs of team members, list of past TV assignments, and complete declaration. This is a summarized table of educational qualification, experience, organizational structure, financial standing, sectorial expertise, documentation, and regulatory compliance. So we have discussed this earlier. LIE, BTech, TV engineering plus finance, experience 5 years plus, here also 5 years plus. Organization structure, it can be individual firm, company, LLP or AOP. And then financial standing last 2 years. At times it is 3 years also. Banking status, here also same. Sectorial expertise is the most important thing, mandatory, max 3 sectors per agency. And documentation is your CVs, certificates, your empanelment letters. Just to mention, uh, when you attach associations like Engineering Council of India or CAI memberships, it creates a lot of comfort, because if something goes wrong, they at times they say that, this member, can you please help us understanding what is the kind of this thing. We are also trying to build up. I will definitely talk of how CAI can work with IB at the end of my presentation. So, and of course, there is no blacklisting or debarment and compliances. In these cases, one thing very important that who people ask me that, sir, who pays? Actually, ultimately the customer pays. Banks do it in this way, is that they make them open an account in their operating branch, and they, from the uh, disbursable amounts, they deduct the fees and give it to you. Or at times, for GST compliances, they directly uh, make you pay from the customer. Next comes the evaluation process. Evaluation process and the various steps in LIE and TEV. I am talking of two areas. One is, of course, the project review assessment, pre-construction and financial closure phase. Financial closure means that the total costing and total project cost, everything is closed and submitted to the bank. The type of projects is very important. Here, what can be the type of projects? Let's say one can be a rehabilitation project. For instance, I'm going to talk of a paper mill which was not being able to run, and it has gone into now very good hands. Not competitor really, but they're trying to build up a total solutions organization. They're rebuilding it and restarting by ownership. I'm sure all of you know that Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act has come into account effective 2017, and no more companies are getting closed down, then many are going into bankruptcy. They are self-declaring bankruptcy also, and somebody else is being taken over. We have seen Jet Airways being taken over. We have seen Shrey Finance being taken over. We have seen DHCL being taken over. So likewise, and then many infra companies have been also taken over. So this is one area where TV and the LI comes in. Second part is that an existing person is expanding his operation, let's say doubling up in operation. So third is it can be some private organizations like one example, both the examples are private, but one is that they are going for a expand money. They are doing a rebuilding a paper mill, and they are trying to, become a largest player in Eastern India. And then, of course, government projects where coal has to be generated for power generation for NTPC, and it is open market. And another is the open market project where you have won the bidding, competitive bidding, and you are going to now start the greenfield project. So broadly, these 4 5 areas, these type of projects you can talk of. আপনি একটু এই কোশ্চেন গুলো দেখুন কি চ্যাটে দিচ্ছি। Okay, first is, when you get an assignment, you examine the technical and commercial terms of concession agreements, EPC contracts, O&M, maintenance contracts, and key project documents to assess their adequacy and risk mitigation provisions. Next is design, cost, and review. This is very, very important. Analyze the project's conceptual design, engineering drawings, construction plans, and operational plans. At times, due to, especially in India, what happens is that to become L1, there are lot of these, what do you call it, cost cutting in design, cost cutting in materials quality, and so on and so forth. Whether that is being compromised or not, that needs to be mentioned. In case of you have DPRs, in case of DPRs, just one sec, please. In case of DPRs, you have a document, you can see that. But here it is in case of whether the consultant has prepared and the bank is loan, there you have to be very careful, and if required, you have to bring in a domain specialist. Approval and clearance verification, you have to see whether all the statutory and regulatory approvals and clearances are in place. Construction monitoring is very important. Conduct periodic site visits, which I talked of. Document findings with reports and photo logs, which you will see. Technical due diligence, assess the technical feasibility, suitability of technology. All this we will show you in the case studies since time is constraint. And then we have review procurement, installation, and commissioning processes. Risk assessment, identify and assess the technical, commercial, financial, and regulatory risks at each stage of the project execution. Compliance verification is very important, whether they are complying or not. If there is a clearance of environment required, so we have to take care of it. And certification and reporting. So certify that the funds are properly utilized. There is, at the end, you have to give a declaration of the particular report. And then final performance testing, you have to see some performances, do the test, and issue final completion and commissioning certificate at the end. Also, some assignment into periodic reviews during operation and maintenance to ensure continued compliance and performances, and then you have got final submission. All of these, the documentation has to be very comprehensive. If there are any non-conformities, that are happening, then you have to note it down and they are being cleared or not. So you have project review and assessment, construction monitoring, risk and compliance assessment, and certification and reporting. And all of these we mentioned. In case of a DPR, when there is a DPR, the earlier was then it was mainly for small projects. But in case of the DPR, whether it is happening, examine the DPR and read the DPR thoroughly like a Bible. Okay, for technical designs, and whether the design vendors which have been done or their design in-house is being done has been done as per DPR or not. cost estimates, and if there are any escalation of cost estimates, implementation schedules, then also you have to take care of it. Identify the key deliverables, timelines set out in the DPR. Of course, conduct site visits and physical inspections, which I spoke of. Compare physical progress to DPR milestones. If they have said that in the 10th month we will deliver so many poles for our conveyor, you ensure that they do it. Or if they're not done it, what is the challenge? They had some stones or large mount to negotiate. That's why they took a different route. That deviation has to be captured and cleared by the authorities. Review the financial progress and status. Check the actual expenditure above 50 lakhs, whatever is happening. Interact with the vendors and check out whether they're getting the money or not. And correlate the financial disbursement with physical progress. Okay, the bank disburses 50 rupees, you pay the vendor 20 rupees, and then later on you say, bhai, aur abhi baki dekhenge. So that is a big challenge. Verify approvals and compliances. That, of course, when you do it during size. Analyze the project timelines, whether they are if there are any slippages, what are the cause and potential impact of overall project delivery. And finally, report the findings and recommendations and the actions taken. So here again is a summary table. The major points: review the DPR, site visits, physical inspection, compare physical progress, review financial progress, verify approvals and compliances, analyze timelines, report and recommend. In case there are deviations, how do we, distinguish the blockages? Immediately identification, documentation. Okay, I will explain one example in the mining slide of mine. You have to communicate across both the banker as well as the customer that these are the deviations and understand that what could be the probable solutions. What is the root cause analysis of it and how it can be resolved? That also you have to give it. Now it is up to the bank and the organizer and the borrower how they will settle it out. And next important is that whether if it is impacting the project scope, cost, and timeline, then that has to be very much captured. Let's say there is a new directive has come up, which supersedes all other old directives. That also you have to keep in mind. And all of us, we know CAPA, develop corrective and preventive actions, and escalation when necessary to the banking officials. Suppose it is stuck up, monitor and review, and of course, foster a learning culture. If you know something, you directly give it to them. Now, quickly I'll come because time is short. Quickly I'll come to a paper mill which was procured. It is in eastern part of India. It is a takeover, reconstruction, and LI trigger of 100 TPD paper mill. From day one, the client was quite well off. They had one mill at Durgapur, and the second one they had taken, and this is the third one. Now, their job was, it was around, the term loan was about 80 crores, 89 crores of course. Out of that, they have to shell out around 35%. So approximately 50 crores of loan. The paper mill was initially when we visited, it was 90 TPD, and later on they decided to make it 100 TPD with a new tissue paper production machinery. Key point is that they decided on a new boiler, expanded ETP plant, that is effluent treatment plant, a pulp mill and de-inking plant. Raw material that is used for making paper for notebooks and all, which we use, is basically newspaper bales, or paper bales which are imported and reprocessed. The current progress of this is almost getting completed. So I thought I'll show this example to all of you. The current progress is about 80 to 82% being ramped up to meet the water trial. First, they'll take a water trial deadlines. So the factory lands on is on WBIDC land, that is West Bengal Industrial Development Land, and the renewal of the lease for next 30 years is under progress. So Department of Land Reforms are also taking care of it. That is what is mentioned. They're a very powerful corporate team structure based at Kolkata, and they have recruited the right kind of people, and guest houses are being planned. It has got facilities have got shop floor, finance, accounts, administration, security. They are being attended to, and one IITian, a veteran paper technologist, has been brought in who has made a lot of difference in this particular project. So assessment of that person, the assessment of the team is very important when you start off, but when submitting this kind of reports. So broadly, this is a paper mill process flow. Right from raw material, it becomes pulp, then it is de-inked, the ink is taken out, and then they are put through, screening, disperser, head box, then the material comes out, A4 sheets, or, kind of notebooks, whatever we want, also newspapers. So initially, when we visited in 2023, this was this administrative block. It was broken down, and then we had a new administrative building that was being done in 2024. And now in May, this has been completed, and state-of-the-art administrative building. Around 2 crores has been spent. The furniture, pictures, somebody's calling you. বন্ধ করুন না এটাকে। Switch off your phone. Then the new administrative building is now has come up around 2 crores, and all the right from the designer to the supplier of this thing furnitures, all the bills, everything was checked by us, and we saw that it was delivered in time on the Akshaya Tritiya date. This was done. Likewise, for staff quarters for 40 people and guest houses for senior people were under progress when we went last in June. So this was the one part, was the administrative part. Second one was the ETP, or the effluent treatment plant, which is a very, very important part of any paper mill, because a lot of polluted material is given, normally comes out as waste. So earlier, when the plant was being taken over, the first thing, it was full of vegetation because it had not run for around 5-6 years. So what they did was they improved the drainage system. They cleaned the large, you must have seen large tanks, all of you, called aeration tanks and secondary clarifier. So all this was cleaned during the last December photographs. You have, these large tanks, the capacity was expanded because they have decided to make this plant from 100 TPD to 150 TPD plant. And they have also made something called Falcon aerated lagoon, where you have got water bubbles, and then you've got bacteria, where the final, after it goes through the aeration tank, all other processes, before releasing it to the waste drain, that water can be used for irrigation also. This is a new regulation that has come from the Central Pollution Control Board. So all these things an engineer has to note down, that not only what are the regulative these things that are come. Suppose they have not, this was not there earlier, this particular thing. So now they have included this thing in the and made, and it is completed. The total cost of repair and redevelopment has been 3 crores. So over the stages, every 3 months we visited and we saw the development happening. And this particular FAL, this had to be made newly as per the Charter 3 or rulings of the Central Pollution Control Board. It is a must now. Next come their largest machine, that is the PM2 machine, which is basically a paper making machine, and um, this particular machine gives 90 TPD and is being expanded by putting something called tiny press, so that the spread of the pulp is more. Just to give you a quick look how it looks, I'll just show you a small YouTube video. This is how it looks. What's in full screen? Huh? Okay. Is it? Could you see the video?
No, sir, the video is not.
Okay.
Not yet played.
I think we have to
Okay.
share it.
I think we have to share it, right?
Please share your screen.
Yeah. Just take down that one. Just I understood. Okay. I think we have to take this down and then show it. Brought it down. I have to bring it down. Okay, it's there. The link is there in the presentation. We can take it later on, okay, if time permits. এটা আবার ওখানে যেতে হবে তো। ওখানে যেতে হবে তো। ঠিক করে দিন এটাকে। Let's reach that number 5. Now is it visible, the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen. But
Okay. Anyway, the videos, I think that there is an issue, but anyway, it is just a small this thing. We were at PM2. Okay, now this one, this is a large equipment. This is a German equipment. It was a decision was taken that repair and expansion with the help of tiny press can make it run rather than bringing in a new equipment. Okay, that was the challenge. So they have given it to some company called Hardayal, who are masters in India. This pulp and de-inking plant was almost broken and completely shabby. So heavy investment had to be done in particularly these two plants. This is a de-inking plant of white, where the ink is taken out of the paper and it is made white again. Okay, so that you can have notebooks and so on and so forth. This bottom, this thing, the ink is separated out. So this is that pulp mill and de-inking area where new structures are to be built and new pulpers are being brought in here. So pulp is the conversion of through water and chemicals, the raw material bales that are given. Then there were 2 boilers available. The cost, of course, is available with us. The cost of producing steam for 2 boilers found was that it would be high. Rather, they decided that we will go for one 18-ton boiler. So it was 4 crores, but on the long run, there is a savings. Hello? Yeah. So they decided to get a new boiler from Thermax, and more or less, this is the final status. They are building a coal handling system and back filter, as well as a boiler at the side. If you can see, the boiler is coming up. In the next visit, this will come up. This is the fuel handling system area. Uh, 2 more visits are left in this particular case that is happening. Now there's something called board mill. This board mill, when it was taken over, it was dilapidated like this in the top left hand. So minor repairs were done. Board mills is basically board material, cardboard, out of which egg trays and your shoe boxes are made. All of you see that material is rough material. That is actually throwaway material. So they have put a new decanter where the water flows into the effluent treatment plant, and the thick mass, which is left away and waste of the paper, is put into this plant for making cardboards. So egg trays, shoe boxes, cardboards, etc. So average around, they have just repaired it. It didn't require much this thing, and around 15 lakhs. It is almost ready now. This is under the last visit that we went. Interestingly, there was one British machine called this paper machine one, and it has got equivalent capacity of the paper mill, the paper mill two, which is a newer machine, brought from Germany by the earlier owner. Here, this machine was found that to kind of produce, the cost of electricity is very high for consumption and so on and so forth. So initially they thought of repairing it and getting it done. But later on they decided that they would discard this machine as scrap and go for a new machine which can produce tissue. During the process also we learned that tissue market is a very interesting market, and India is one of the largest consumers of tissue, and it is growing at a CAGR of 5% annually, which is huge. And tissue means right from facial tissue, then is hand tissue, then is your toilet tissue, and then up to 50 GSM papers is done in this tissue machine, and it's very fine machine. In latest machine, India only is making it, Indian supplier, and that is costing around 10 crores. They have just decided to go for it. So this is an additional cost to the initial cost that was taken. Then, a weighbridge earlier was not there, which was dilapidated. They did a weighbridge for this project. And this is the raw material yard where the conveyors have newly set up, matching with the new productivity capacity. That is, one is 60 tons, another one is 90 tons per hour. These are raw material bales that are imported. And of course, they have bought in, Sedicel where sedimentation happens. This has been newly constructed. Water softening plant is being done, for demineralized water. And they have bought in some latest type of compressors from Atlas Copco. And, these are all tri-neat presses, which spreads the material equally. So the more the spread, the finer is your paper. And that is why, handmade paper is so costly, because with hand, you can, spread the material much more better till date. So if we see this particular case study, in a span of total 18 months, we visited 6 times. Uh, uh, the ETP plant, 1 crore investment in capacity extension of the tank, because more the capacity, more waste is going to be produced. From 170 to 380 cubic meters or 280 cubic meters, it will be dying. Existing boilers, there was a repair or buy decision. So here they bought one decision, a new thermal decision. These were all new things that happened. A new coal handling plant was developed. The paper machine one they discarded, and paper machine two, they have put in tri-neat presses plus motors and so on and so forth. So from 90 TPD to 150 dB, they are trying to do it. And board mill, they have bought in one, extra decanter from a local company for production of what is called WOW, which I explained, wealth from waste, making tech trays and so on and so forth. So what are the kind of technical decision assessment, whether the technical decisions that they took were in line with the market scenario for a banker to understand. So what we inferred out of it is that we also went into the market to find that, to see that how the market, what is the market demand in Eastern region. We saw that it was the demand in Eastern region was around 12.5% to produce, out of which maximum is being catered by people like Imami paper and stuff like that. There was a 5% gap, which these people are likely to, for clients' secrecy, we are not maintaining the names, but this 5% demand gap can be easily met by them if they bring the capacity to 150 tons. So these are the things that a LIE engineer, a LIE report maker has to understand. And of course, replacing a old technology, obsolescence technology, which consuming high energy uh, to make tissue papers, and tissue paper market is growing according to the population. More the population, more the growth. In the process, what happened is bringing this new machine, there was a cost increase of 50% on the capacity expansion. There is a delay in commissioning from September 2024 to December 2025 because they are bringing in new machines, capacity is being esteemed. So bankers were perturbed. So we had a joint visit and they were convinced that these people, whatever they're doing correctly. So this is one of the cases. This is quite frequent. These are mid-sized projects which come to engineer. These are mid-sized, but these are the ups and downs, and one has to understand civil, one has to understand mechanical, one has to understand paper technology also, or the domain in which this customer is doing. I've indicated a bit of project cost here, which of course is we discussed there, but this is the overall picture of a paper mill. Of course, this course and understanding the projects requires a 6 months course. Just to give you an idea how the project is studied. Next, I'll quickly move on to the last case study, and the last portion of the 6th chapter of my presentation is a open cut mining. Open cut is refers to this area where from the top in a mining project from top to 30 feet, 300 feet if you are doing, it is normally an open cast mining or open cut. Americans say open cut. And for then the underground, China is predominantly underground mining. India is open cast mining for mining more and so on and so forth. This is a project for NTPC in the form of a SPV, mine, build and operate. They are developing the entire uh, township and giving on per ton basis. So broadly, the project overlay was like this: that banks X advised us to conduct a LIE report for the project of mine development and operator company in central India, belonging to a subsidiary to NTPC Limited. So they prepared an SPV and they are doing the work there. OB clearance by shovel dumper combination. And here the stripping ratio, that is the ratio of the overburden and the coal seam, is very little. So here what is used is called a surface miner. So the surface miner, front end loaders, dumpers, and the coal grade expected as per the Government of India Department of Mining is G9 with a gross calorific value of 4601 kilocalories or per kg to 4900 kilocalories per kg. This is the outcome they want. So more you dig, the better quality of coal you get. Then you've got peak rated capacity. It is a 5.6 million tons per annum. The mandate to us is that for the next 6 years, from the starting of the project, the LIE report has to be submitted. And once they reach the 5.6 million tons per annum, it will be reduced to two visits per annum. This is a rough, in any mining project, first is the land acquisition is an important part. So the amount of land required was 1396. So it is from the start of the project, government acquired the land and gave it to them. 1385.94. Some more were there. We have done about 7 quarterly visits from 2023, mid 2020 till now. And broadly, we covered all these areas, starting from coal mining, that is surface mining, OB removal, statutory clearances, approach road, approach road from the mines to the nearest railway station, coal handling plant, which is to come up 3 years after the project starts, electricity connections, safety features, training, monsoon preparedness. This is a very, very important part of any open cast mining project in India. And the next part is the human part, rehabilitation and resettlement, and finally project cost and means of finance. So this is how a surface miner looks. It rolls over the surface uh, and cuts mining, and there are dumpers and excavators which work in combination to this thing. A surface miner costs about 2 crore 65, and then this is the total cost that is the surface miner has taken. A new surface miner from the world's leading surface miner market leader called Regen, which is a German company. They also make road machinery, and the surface miners are done by them. So this is being used. Now the second one is being introduced at the this thing. These are the kind of work that they have done. They have worked for 7,000 hours per annum, which is quite high. They work in night also. This is some of the productivity figures over the past 2 years. And second part is that the portion just before starting the coal is called the overburden in mining parlance. Many of you are knowing this. So the OB part, instead of they doing themselves, they gave it to a large contracting firm from Dhamdad who have been doing this work, and they were subcontracted so that their main focus on coal production is not disturbed. The first thing was removal of OB, construction and widening of national highways, extraction of coal, transportation, wagon loading, site leveling and grading, slurry excavation, other minerals, and development of real estate like office and so on and so forth. So they were a very well organized. You can see a lot of OB clearing work is happening all over. And all these equipments, they have around 50, 60 equipments available. One of the major challenges of this project was to, once you have acquired the land, next comes for mining activity, you have to shift the high tension lines from one area to another. So this is the broad this thing that after shifting, this is how it happened. It has aligned, and you have to talk to the person of that who is owning that land, and then take it to another person who is going to whose land it is going to go. Mind you, one thing is that it's very important that if a electricity line is going through your land, then that person has to be compensated, because A, you cannot build houses. Secondly, banks do not fund these kind of properties, or where you're trying to build a house on which a electricity line is gone. So it's very important that they are well compensated, and you'll see normally it goes through paddy fields or other fields, wheat fields or something like that. Next comes is, of course, monsoon preparedness. In mining parlance, if you see in the top, this is called these are all garland chain and Gabriel wall. Here, these are the excess water that gets, this is the pit, the mining pit. You see, due to heavy rains, it has gone. They have got pumps ready, and the pumps take out the water and put it through what do you call it, garland chain and Gabriel wall. And by this method, what they did was, in the last 2 years, the outcome was they saved 67 man days. 67 man days in 2 consecutive years, where other mines were closed and the productivity was on. The railway down, the coal that was being made or excavated had to be transported in around. So a new railway siding was being developed, It is called, I mentioned is an extram because of this thing. And this area is being developed by railways under the Gati Shakti multimodal cargo terminal. Ultimately, it will become a cargo terminal. So that portion is being developed. So till such time, they are transporting the coal to this by trucks. And as a part of the project, a conveyor and a conveyor system and a coal handling plant will come up here uh, by operated by this company to it will be directly loaded into the conveyors, and there will be savings of 1.8 times the cost will be cheaper compared to physical transportation by uh, tippers and dumpers. So right from the starting to now, still it is being made. There is one consortium. They have got around 400 trucks. So they are now doing it. And the road through which they will come, they are all PMGS5 roads. So the clearance had to be taken by them. Next is your long-term dispatch arrangements in the initial stage. So these are what I spoke of. They have doing the CHP and the conveyor system. Next comes is the coal handling plant and the conveyors. The conveyor system, as you see, it is under progress. There are CHP substation, transfer houses, where each one of these are being built. And this is being done by a large company from Kolkata called MacMet, where they are giving the both mechanical and the civil structural work. And SGS is the largest inspection agency. They are doing the inspection. So next comes is, of course, the safety parameters. This comes under mining. So the entire safety is under DGMS. And those of you in the audience will know how powerful DGMS is. So luckily, this is a large group. So they have got very strong safety records are kept. So one has to see whether the recording, the loss of time in injury is zero, lost days is zero, and number of fatalities is zero. There are some near misses also is zero. Unsafe condition was that identified, and then they uh, mitigated that. Uh, as you all know, these kind of projects every quarter DGMS, Director General of Mine Service, mine safety visits. So here what happens is that first visit they say that you put up mirrors. Many of the gated properties or housing complexes, you have seen that to see the vehicular traffic, the other vehicle can be seen. That is what they suggested. Secondly, there are small things that they suggested. There was no major accidents, so nothing major was suggested. For light vehicles, a temporary road was asked to be made. So that is also what they did. And then what there was signages as per DMS. So that also they set up. This is during my visit during the team. So they have got a very powerful training program for safety and for equipments. So they train up for safety of the people as well as on the maintenance people for tipper operators, dozer blasting helpers, surface miner maintenance, and excavator operation and maintenance program. This is the most interesting part is that there's something called PDFs, that is project displaced families. So we just wanted to understand that what really, whether they are really paying the people or not, or just using force to doing that. So we called one of them for a meeting here, which is circled. This gentleman, and normally as per the act, and this group is going a bit ahead. He has got three sons. He himself, as well as his family, are getting jobs depending on the skill. His youngest son is an electrical engineer, so he is likely to be getting an electrical job. And then a colony has been set up for them where they're getting one house. And of course, till such time that housing comes, there is a clear uh, government directive of how much per month they are going to pay. So almost their per month they are getting. There are so many around 100. When we visited first, it was 110. Now around Around 400 PDFs, that is project displaced families, have been resettled in colony plus a job. So till such time the job starts, they get an amount. So this person was getting around 3 lakhs per month as compensation. So another part that one has to see and an engineer has to see is statutory clearances and approvals, review status. You have to see revised mine plan, forest clearance, environmental clearance, mining lease, uh, consent to establish, mine of opening permission, NOC for drawal of groundwater, railway siding permission. Lot of permissions have to be checked. Environmental clearances. So here, what happened is that this project is they are so money, it is paying so well that they have closed the loan account. This is the most funniest part. But what they did good is that they put in state of the art machinery, all the latest ones, the latest brands. They have a dedicated rehabilitation and resettlement manager at the site who talks to the families starting कि आपको यहाँ से हटना है, then they say कि आपका family में कौन कौन है. They cultivate each one of these 500 that manager and his team is doing, talking to that, and this has become a profession actually. One vertical in various projects of R&R manager. He is known as the R&R manager. They of course are cash rich, so they utilize very little, around 20-30 crores. They are very cash rich. They have got FD is what 915 crores, only FD. So that's what they chose. Very good subcontractors. The subcontractor for OB removal, subcontractor for making the conveyors and the CHP are all renowned people and have not found money. They have not cut corners by bringing in small players or something like that. And given the monsoon preparedness, they were ahead in productivity. Safety already I showed you. Also, as a part of the project, this kind of project, you have to do 1:5 deforestation and planting of trees. So they have set up a nursery. So one plant cut down, you have to bring in 5 more plants. So broadly, these are the things that they did well. And of course, these are the financials. The project is running well, and the loan is closed. But most importantly, last one thing I will say here is that sometime last year, their payments that they were getting, we found that there were 50% was being cut and 50% was being released to them by NTPC. So we asked them that what is the problem. Ministry of Coal in the month of March 2024 came out with a notification that all such projects, MBO projects, have to deliver grade 8 coal. Here, the mandate was grade 9 coal. So the clearance, again, they went back. So we pointed out to the bank, we pointed out to the customer went back to Ministry of Coal as well as NTPC, and NTPC wrote to Ministry of Coal, and they agreed that since this project was decided upon grade 9, so they will give grade 9, and if they get grade 8, surely they will give grade 8. So that is how the rest 50% was released around August 2024. So these are the things one has to really look into. So by and large, this is what I wanted to speak. I'm sorry I took some more time, but this is such a subject where you can run a course of 5-day course or a 6-day course just to understand one industry. So that's my that ends my presentation. Thank you for patiently hearing me. And if you have any questions, please go ahead. Over to you, Mr. Asim and Miraj.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation, and we will learn a lot. There are a few questions from the participants. Let me ask you, and you could answer it. The first question is, please guide us how a new startup engineering independent consultant can participate in either LIE or TEV studies. Example, if an individual has prior experience and a C engineer and now wishes to start their own engineering consulting firm, what step they take to participate in such studies?
Well, there are advertisements that are given. You see, normally for startups, now of course they are encouraging. What you can do is they look at experience. So in your startups, you can have some experienced people bringing
Okay.
in, and they bring in the credentials that they have worked in, let's say, coal sector or in say design and development sector, or have done projects. So that only they, as a startup, you will be getting. Some banks are slightly this thing like SBI and all are slightly they want senior people. But yes, other banks, they if you can get on a aggregation of people. See, in the today is the world of aggregation. Okay, you can be an aggregator and make a startup. But remember, I am also a mentor to Startup India in Bengal. The startup means you have to do something. Startup definition per se is where you have to something do. There is something technical inputs have to be there, which is different from others. Then only you are defined as a startup. A normal entrepreneurial venture by a youngster is cannot be named as a startup. Startup India defines startup as something disruptive. It's not disruptive, it is something new should be there with the help of technology. Let's say you develop a app for complete project assessment, which is different from others. Then it will be considered as a startup, and you will get funding also for that. That of course is a different issue, but this is. But my suggestion, particularly to your question, whether you call it a startup or no startup, what is important to know here is that you can get some senior people into your startup who have got 5+ experience and really good. Okay, it is the quality of experience is very which the bankers see, not the quantity. Okay, that this person can 1 year in KPMG is equal to 5 years in any normal this thing. So that is what is important.
Okay. Sir, for becoming a LIE, you have to register with some government agency or some certification is required.
No, first is chartered engineer. You have to be a chartered engineer.
Okay.
That is
Only the
must.
thing is that you have the chartered engineer.
Chartered engineer, then your experience in that field.
Okay.
Then your engineer, not only not an LIE, but not as LIE, but at least let's say you have completed 2 projects. Okay, you have got the design aspect. Somebody has worked along with you who has worked in execution and completed such a project. So that's how it is.
Other question is that uh, from Sandeep, what do you mean by empanelment is typically limited to maximum of 3 sectors per agency?
Yes, 3 sectors means let's say they advertise for 17. Today, Asim is a what do you call it? Civil engineer. Let's say, and I am a production engineer as well as I've got a master's in civil. Now we are both applying for EV. Okay, electric vehicle and solar. This thing.
Hmm.
So have we done work done in solar? So maximum 3 sectors you are allowed.
Okay.
Power, let's say power, roads, or mining. If I let's say I'm in mining.
Okay.
Okay, like then we say then Asim and we said decide that okay let's do chemical also. हम लोग chemical में भी डाल देते हैं. अरे हमारा कोई है क्या? Do we have a degree in chemical? So at least the sectors which you are applying, you should be having a basic degree on that one.
There is a question from Barar sir. What is the range of fees for TEV and LIE, vice versa loan amount?
It is not dependent on the loan, but TEV starts from 1 lakh, goes up to several lakhs. Maximum, let's say 10 lakhs, maybe maximum. I have seen. LIE, the thing is that it is a recurring deposit. Okay, LIE is recurring deposit. LIE starts from let's say 2 lakhs and plus travel, and then over the period of 6 years, it can be 1.5 lakhs, 2 lakhs, depending on the size of the project.
Okay.
Okay, and it will go on for 6 years. So LI is a very long-term this thing. So if you can bag one or two or three, so you know and you have got assured business.
Okay. Another question is from Jan sir. Which agency has set the requirements for LIE or TEB as chartered engineers only?
See, normally this is where I think Jain sir should come in and Ghosh sir also should come in, and we should do a lot of advocacy for people like CAI and ECI to uh, have tie-ups with IBA, Indian Bankers Association. You see, Indian Bankers Association is a private agency, okay, but they from time to time come out with such directives and advocacy documents known as draft policies and so on and so forth. Excuse me. So I think this platform, I would request that both CAI and ECI can come together and push uh, engineers from our this thing to decide on the criteria part. Okay, because you see what is happening is that right now whatever they have laid hands on, some foreign companies, the bankers are preparing their this thing. So if we can tie up, because earlier I spoke to Mr. Sarup from of CIDC, who is also the Secretary General of ECI, that one paper was made way back in this thing in IBA, but nothing much really in this thing. So they decide on their own, and IBA gave a directive on domain experts in 2018, but that was a broad directive. So we can directly work with the banks as well as Indian Bankers Association to take it forward to answer James' question. And I let me tell you, huge number of projects are coming across MSME sector, especially like 10 to 50 crores. There are huge projects all across India, and that is where the bank is booming and getting the money.
Okay.
A 32, let's say a 32 flat apartment gated property, that is also coming. They're asking for LIE. Okay, so it's a new area. This is a
Okay.
normally engineers, that everybody wants to draw and build this thing, that but this is an area where this is a big it's a growing market and we need people for this. I
So,
try to make it very concise, but it requires much more deliberations for more understanding.
yes, sir. We gone through your presentation, and it's a very big detailed presentation. And I like you to welcome Somnath sir for his closing remarks.
Thank you
And
very much, Indranil. You have been
My pleasure.
extremely, taking a lot of pains to explain what is TEV and what is LIE and what are the opportunities for engineers to enter this field.
Right.
A growing field you worked out, and I do see, a space where institutions like CEAI as well in Engineering Council of India can play a role to help define policies rather than just being limited to chartered engineers. This needs to be broadened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's been a learning process for all of us, and I can see the number of participants here. I thank all the participants to be with us, and I do see, doing a few more events. You've covered a very wide canvas. Maybe if you can break it down into smaller bits, we can do maybe with your assistance and Aarti's help, we can work out some kind of a training program.
Sure. I'd love to.
I'm sure people are looking forward for this kind of knowledge sharing and learning.
Yeah, sure. I would love to, sir. I would love to.
Thank you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I think
we'll work out, sir.
We've been here for a long time and people must be getting restless. So we'll bring it to a close now. It was a very interesting session. Therefore, we decided not to break in between. and let you carry on with your pace. Thank you very much
Thank you,
for
sir.
being with
Thank you.
us. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Engineer sir, for your wonderful presentation. And by this, we are closing our webinar for today.